We're on Kuf Nun Gimel on the base. Kuf Nun Gimel on the base. Yesterday, I mentioned that someone who's mechamer is behema on Shabbos, that is a chiyuv skila. That's not according to everybody. I'd like to share with you a chart. You should have it. I sent it out. I'll post it over here and let me try to get it up here in a second. You know, this is always challenging for me to get this thing up here. Where is it? Okay. That's it. Okay, now I just have to get the chart on the, I have the chart. I don't have the chart. How do I get the chart? Oh, I hate this.
Everyone got it on their phones.
Yeah, that's the one that he sent out, right?
Yeah, so just look at your phone and forget the chart.
Okay.
Yeah, you sent it. We can have it on WhatsApp. Rabbi.
Again, not everyone has it. Not everyone has a phone. Anyway, you can see it now, right? Guys, you see it?
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Okay, now a person is going after his animal. He's leading his animal with his mouth. The animal is fully loaded. So the question is, if he does it b'shogeg, what's the halacha? So we have two opinions of Rami Bar Chama. The first opinion is Yichayev Achatas. And not only Yichayev Achatas, b'mezid you b'chayev skila. In other words, Rami Bar Chama holds that mechamer is no different than any other av on Shabbos. That if you're over b'shogeg chayev chatas and mezid skila. Now, what's the reason? The tam, because it says leisase kamalacha ata uvim techa. So you make a hekesh, just like if you do shogeg yichayev chatas and b'mezid yichayev skila. So too, if your animal does, as a result of you working for you, the animal also, you will go ahead, as a result of you working with the animal, you'll be chayev b'shogeg chatas and mezid skila. So that's the tam. It's a hekesh between animal and man. That's the first. That's Rami Bar Chama. Now, Rav Zavid has a different opinion of Rami Bar Chama. He says shogeg you'd be potter, mezid you'd be chayev skila. Now, why would you be potter b'shogeg? Let's go to the tam. He says we learn out chatas, guys, from avodah zarah. We've had this in the past. The source for chatas is avodah zarah. Now, just like avodah zarah, you need to do an action. So too Shabbos, you need to do an action, a maisa. If your animal is working, you're not doing a maisa, you're going to be put on the shogeg.
We can't hear you, like.
However, that's only by the chatas. Vis-a-vis the chatas to be able to hekesh to limit from avodah zarah. Vis-a-vis the mezid, you're going to be chayiv skila. Fascinating halacha. More mekel on the shogeg, more chamer on the mezid. Right, there you go. Butter on shogeg, chayiv on mezid. Okay? The last, Rabbi Yochanan says you partner on both. Rabbi Yochanan uses two svaras. He says that we learn from avodah zarah, so therefore you partner on the shogeg because you need to do a maisa. And now he has another limud. If there's no shogeg, there's no skila. There's nothing in the world that I can be partner on the chatas and be chayiv on the mezid. So therefore, it's not going to go ahead and work. That's the three opinions. That's the three opinions. The three opinions over here. Guys, good? Guys, good three opinions, right? Very diverse. Okay, so let's see it inside. Says the Gemara. We're up to Kuf Nun. Again, let me get some people coming in here. Admit them. We're getting black straps matter in. Okay. Okay, so we're about 5-6 lines down. Amarei Merchama. Hamechamer acha beimasa b'Shabbos. Someone is mechamer after his behem on Shabbos. That means he's leading the animal on Shabbos and the animal is fully loaded. Even if he doesn't, guys, even if he does it with his mouth, even if he's physically not pulling the animal, even verbally he's saying, you know, Jack took us, move along, right? No matter what he says, there you go. So what's the halacha? B'shogeg chayiv chatas, b'meisid chayiv skila. This is the first line we had in the chart, that b'shogeg b'chayiv chayiv skila. Matam, what's the reason? Amar Rabbi, you have to change the gersa, guys. Rav is going to ask a kasha. Go with the bach over here. You have to change the gersa. You see on the side it says Rabbi. You have to go with Rabbi. Amar Rabbi, Dama Kra, because the pasuk says, L'sasu kol malacha, don't do any malacha. Ata uvemtecha, behemasa dum yedidei. The behema should be similar to you. Mahu b'shogeg chayiv chatas, just like he's chayiv b'shogeg chatas, b'mezid chayiv skila. A simple hekesh, meaning there's no difference between you and the animal and you and yourself. Just like you yourself are mezid b'shogeg pot chayiv chatas and b'mezid skila, so too your animal doing an av malacha, in this case, walking along with Rishus Rabbim, you would be chayiv. Amar Rava shtei tshuvas b'dav. See, this is why you have to say Rava, because Rava is questioning. So it can't be Rava questioning himself. So it had to be Rabba. So Amar Rava, I'm going to ask you two questions. First of all, Chada, Tichsiv, it says, Torah achas yelachem. It says there should be one Torah, la'oisei bishkaga, to one who's over in a shogeg. Now this is by avodah zarah. Va'nefesh asher tasu b'yod rama, hukish kol ha'Torah kula avodah zarah. That pasuk was by avodah zarah. Now this is the role model. This is the paradigm for all chiyuvei chatas, which is avodah zarah. Ma avodah zarah the ovid ma'isa. He does an action. He's serving that avodah zarah, right? The gufa with his body, achanami ad of a ma'isa begufa. He's got to do a ma'isa with his body, and his animal doing a ma'isa for him is not his body. Memela, you're not going to be chayiv achatas. If the source for chatas is avodah zarah, this action of Shabbos is not similar to that. And therefore, your putter, that's the second column. That's the column that Rob had a problem with. Your putter on shogeg.
So his voice isn't being mechayev him.
Again, because nonetheless, even his voice is getting the animal to do, he is not doing the work, Steve. The animal's doing the work. V'oid, Tanan, hamachales ha-Shabbos b'dova shechayav mal shegegos lechatos, yalz going to skila. Let's be medayik. This is in my favorite Masechta Sanhedrin, and it's describing where is chi of skila, guys. It's describing chi of skila. Listen to what it says. Hamachales ha-Shabbos b'dova shechayav mal shegegos lechatos, yalz zidoinai skila. Now, nechlal de'ika midi, the ein chayv al shegegos lechatos v'lo yalz zidoinai skila. Umay niu lav de mechamer. In other words, there you get skill, you get your chayiv for you do both. We're inferring that there are things that you're not chayiv, even though it's by other halachos you be chayiv. So, for example, all of Hilchos Shabbos, all 30 or 39 of us malachos, we know you will be chayiv for with the exception of Rabbi Yosi, we're going to meet in a second. You'll be chayiv of shogeg chatos and skila b'mezid. But it says b'dova shechayav. It must be there's a dova that you're not chayiv. What is that dova that you're not chayiv? It must be mechamer. It must be when your animal's mechal Shabbos, not you. So therefore, two reasons to disagree with column number one, that there's no difference between a man and an animal, that chayiv chatos on the shogeg and chayiv skila on the mezid. Says the Gemara Loi. That second kasha is nishkan kasha. It can be tchumen ba'alibad Rabbi Akiva. We're going to meet Be'ezras Hashem in the Sechta Eruvin, the Shita of Rabbi Akiva. Yehuda Horowitz loves this. He brings this out, I don't know how many times. It's right up there with Psik Reisha, I think. It's up there all the time. Rabbi Akiva says that you chayiv tchumen. So ein achinami. The chum is a din daraisa, but there would be no chi of what? Shogeg b'chatos, and there would be no chi of skila. But ein achinami, b'chamer, can zayin that there would be. So there's no raya. Your second question is not a question. Or v'avara leave it to Rabbi Yosi. We ask guys in the Masechta, why did le'sevaru weish b'chomash v'seichem lama yatzasa? Fellas, it says le'sasu kol malacha. You can't do any malacha. Then it says le'sevaru weish b'chomash v'seichem. Don't light a fire. I think lighting a fire is a malacha. Why take it out of the rule? If the rule states that that you can't do any malacha, so why do I need to tell me you can't light? Of course I can't light. Elamah is a chalukei opinions. That one you chayiv on each and every one, and there's another one, Rabbi Yosi's opinion, that this goes out of the rule because it's different than any other Hilchos Shabbos. all Hilchos Shabbos, you chayiv chatos skila, here you're over allowed. You get malchus. No chatos for that. So like this is very good. The Mishnah in Sanhedrin that's describing Avasheh Chayovim, mashmid is something Hilchos Shabbos that you're not chayiv. You're not necessarily locked into saying it's b'chamer. It could be Rabbi Akiva Tchumim or Rabbi Yossi Lav. Merely, second question is not a question. But nonetheless, this first question is a very, very good question. Mashma, you have to do it. If you're learning from Avodah Zarah, you have to go ahead and do an action with your body like Avodah Zarah. So now, Reb Zvid Masni Hachi, Amid Aleph, Reb Zvid, he learns the following. This is how he learns Pshat in Rami Bar Chama. Amar Rami Bar Chama, this is column number 2. HaMechamer Achmehema B'Shabbos B'Shoigeg Ein Chayev Chatos. Why, guys? Why? Because it's not doimed to Avodah Zarah. The Avodah Zarah is speaking b'shogeg. This is not similar to Avodah Zarah. So the action, you can't be chayiv for this action. And however, b'mezid chayiv skila. B'mezid, you be chayiv skila. Why not? What? You hear this? You be chayiv skila. Where do you be chayiv skila, guys? From the hekish of ato uvehem techa. The same hekish that was mechayiv Rabbi Bar Chama in the first line will be mechayiv in the second line. So really, guys, the second pshat is the edification after Rav is kasha. Look at the chart again. Look at the chart again. It's geschmack. It's very geschmack. I think I can even pop this up right away. Guys, let's look at the chart again. It's geschmack. This was Rami's first pshat. Skila, chata skila. And the reason was the hekesh between Ato u'Hem Techa. We had a question on this chatas. It's not similar to Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah, you do an action, here you're not. Therefore, you're potter. You see that? Just like Avodah Zarah, you're Ma'aseh. Therefore, you're potter. However, the skill remains the same for the same reason. The skill remains the same. Why? Because that stays the same. Guys, geschmack? Right? That would explain a very weird shita. I'm potter on the shaygate, but at least that I get is a skill I get. It's a very now. It's such a strange shot that the svara doesn't make any sense. So guess what, guys? What does Rabbi Yochanan hold? You're potter. You know why you're potter? Since I'm potter on the chatas, because it's not like Avodah Zarah, I'm potter on the skila on the mezid. Because we don't find something so strange that you should be potter on the shaygate and chayiv on the mezid. So therefore you potter across the board. Those are the shitas. Let's see it inside. So I'm going to Chama, HaMechamer Achmehema B'Shabbos B'Shoigeg Ein Chayiv mezid, Ein Chayiv chatas, B'mezid Chayiv skila. Masav Rava, HaMechalas Shabbos B'Dava Shechayav Malshut Gosei Chatos. If someone's Mechal Shabbos on something that in your Chayiv chatos, Chayav Malshut Doin skila. You can't get to second base unless you touch first. You can't get to skila at second unless you touch first of shoygeg. Once you're telling me there's no first base, there's no second base. Kenny, I don't want to hear the Abbott Costello joke. I know what you're thinking. I know you. Anyway, so I'm telling you, we've been together so long. I started reading minds. Kenny, were you thinking that? No, you weren't. You weren't. Okay. Anyway, guys, you got it? So that's why you can't have something that I potter on the shaygei chiv skila. So therefore, you potter on both.
Laser, I don't have it. Laser?
Yeah.
I don't have it.
One second, before you ask a question, are you learning the Shabbos?
Yes.
Okay, yes, you ask whatever you want. Guys, we have all the time in the world.
I don't understand why, because there's no Misa, so he compares it to Avodah Zarah. That's why you don't not.
We learn out. How do you know there's a chi of chatas in the world? How do you know there's a chi of chatas? Where's the source?
But it has to be the same thing. You need a Misa. I understand that.
Misa begufa.
Don't you need a Misa for any Avera? I mean, for Shabbos also you need a Misa, don't you? So
Misa begufa. You did. Mayor, Steve asked this already. Misa begufa. You need a Misa with your body. Here the Misa is with your animal.
So it's considered a Misa.
Absolutely.
But it's not considered a Misa for.
There is no one that says that you're not chayiv deraisas. No, it's not a Rabbanan Dekadin. This is Haitzah. You mitzvah in Shvisas Behemtai. So again, this is a Misa. The question is there a chiyah for this ma'isa? Because you're only indirectly involved, not directly involved. You're not doing it.
Lazy, you're not allowed to work your animal on Shabbos either, even though you're not doing it.
Right. But again, we have an issue of mechamer. We're discussing this issue of mechamer. What is the halacha? We know it's usher. We know it's usher. You're supposed to rest your animals. That's what I say. Right? Now, you're not supposed to work them. You're working this animal, right? You're mechamer. You're doing something wrong. Admit it. You're doing something wrong. Question, is this different than every other Hilchah Shabbos? Or no, it's not. So we have across the board, you have from one extreme to the other extreme. That's why the chart is very good. It shows you the extremes over here. May, do you understand it now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, good. Says the Gemara Vaita. So on this last point, if you're not chayiv for shogeg, you won't be chayiv for skila. Now, for the Gemara, mikatoni ha'en chayavin hachi kamar davar shechayav mal shigagase chatos, something that you're chayiv on the shogeg chatos chayav mal zlan skila. V'yesh davar she'en chayav mal shigagase chatos v'chayav mal zlan skila. So therefore, he disagrees with Rabbi Yochanan. Now, there's an unfortunate incident that occurred that Shmuel's daughter Rachel was captured, and she had been forced by a man called Isi, and she got pregnant, and he was a Megayer, but she was impregnated when he was still a goy, but the child was Jewish. That child is Rav Mori. So says the Gemara, Rava Achua the Rav Mori bar Rachel, Rava the Achua the Rav Mori bar Rachel, the brother of Mori bar Rachel. Now take out the next few words. Kasha it's shver ha the Rav Achshvel Rav Mori bar Rachel uminyana bepursa the bubble. This has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Now, in order to be a shaiter, you have to be mekarev achecha. You have to be a pure blood. So we know that yichus goes after the mother. So why would Rav have to go ahead and check and declare him fit for this position if after all his mother was a yid? Anyway, so Dilma Trey Mari Baruch Havi. Maybe there was a second one. In other words, Rav was checking into the yichus of a person. The question was, why was it necessary to check the yichus? We all know the halacha. If the mother's Jewish, no matter who the father is, the child is Jewish. Rachel, the daughter of Shmuel, was Jewish. So Memela, the child, Rami is Jewish, or Mari is Jewish. So why was he checking? So it must be that there was another one. There must be he was checking to somebody else. Be that as it may, we're going weiter, because this again is, I don't know why they brought this in. It could have been there b'shas Maisa, but it's very interesting. Dilma Trey.
Would he be a Ben Tesmidas, Rabbi?
Excuse me?
Would he be a Ben Tesmidas?
Ben Tesmidas? I'm not sure.
If this happened when he was Ma'anis, or would he be a Ben, as if he was born, a Ben Tesmidas? You know, they say that they have Azus.
No, he was checking again. He was checking into Yichus. Again, you're describing as a pogum. Your child is born out of wedlock. So there's a shaila about the midas. So over here you're saying kol shekein, but it's not a midas check, no see. It's a check in Yichus because he's being appointed for a position. He's being appointed for a position, which Rashi tells us has to be b'kerev achecha. So it's very gishmak now. So let's see, guys. So now, having masni lo l'shmaitzim shmeid Rabbi Yochanan, he learned it in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Lifter, meaning the last line of the chart, across the board pata. Not only are you pata b'shoigeg, you're pata b'meisid from skila. Rabbi Yochanan, hamachamer achabei masa b'shabes, pata miklum. You're pata from everything. B'shoigeg lo b'chayev chatas. Why? The hookish kol Torah kula by the zara, and therefore you what? You need a ma'isa b'meisid. You need a ma'isa b'gufa. And b'meisid nami lo mechayev nan. What's the rule of thumb? Hamachalas Shabbos b'davar shechayav mashagase chatas. That's the Mishnah in Sanhedrin. If you're missing first base, if you're not going to be chayav chatas, in chayav mazben skila, you can't get the second base. Watch it. Very good. So now, guys, listen. So we did the chart. So why would you tell me if this is an Issa Deraisa, It is an issa deraisa. So what's the littlest thing you can be chayiv? Is malchus. It's malchus. But malchus is called a lav, right? You can be chayiv malchus. You're not going to even be chayiv malchus on this. Why? There are certain heterim of lavim that don't get malchus. I'll give you a few. A lav sheva klolis. A lot by you can't cook the current Pesach. It has to be tzliyesh. It can't be noah. There are certain lavim that are general lavim. You can't get malchus for a lav sheva klolis. A lav she'ein b'maisa. We know we make a hekesh to chasima, just like lisachtim shabedishar is a din is a maisa. Kol lav shemaisa. You have a lav she'ein b'maisa. You don't get malchus on. There's also a lav shenitin lasharis misas bezdin. If you see a person with machal Shabbos, do you go over and tell him you're going to get malchus, or do you go over and tell him you're going to die? Obviously, you're going to tell him you're going to die, right? You're going to get skila, and you'd have to go ahead and tell him exactly on which av you're being over. Any lav shenitin lasharis misas bezdin that you're supposed to give the more stringent punishment, and you give the lesser punishment, you say you're going to get malchus, you don't get malchus. So over here, this is a lav, you're being machal Shabbos. Really, the general rule is, an achil Shabbos, ein einish gadol mizu, skila, the worst. Guess what? If you go ahead and give him, say you're going to get malchus for this, you don't get malchus, because you didn't go ahead and give him the right hasra. Says the Gemara inside. The lav nami loy mechayiv. 2 words in the bottom. The havi le lav shenitin lasar misas bezdin. It's a lav that is given to asar misas bezdin. The whole lav shenitin lasar misas bezdin ain't like in a lav. You're not going to get malchus. Amid days. Va'afil l'man the amaloikin. And even according to man that says you would get malchus, there's an opinion in Sech Namakis that you do. Over here you won't. Because if you were supposed to get malchus, lich rachmana leisasil kol malacha uvem pecha. Right? Right, do not do malacha, you and your animal. Now we don't have that. We have lisas malacha ata uvin chutecha, right? We have an ata in the middle. Why is that ata in the middle? The ata is in the middle. Ata lamali, who knew the mechayev? He's chayev on his own action. He's not mechayev on. So we have a miyut to tell me you wouldn't even get across the board. You would be partner. So we start off, guys. We started with chiyevs. Chatas, skila, and we end up forget chatas, forget skila. You wouldn't even get malchus. You went from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. Only in Gemara, and also you understood why. Questions good? Everyone's good. Okay, Gishmak.
Is this where we come out? We blind like this?
Yes.
That chamacha behem to Shabbos.
Yes. Don't worry. The only behemoth you're going to walk after, his life doesn't matter. You ain't walking after any chamor, right? Okay, now. So what do we say, fellas? When you get to the city, what should you do? You should slip the bags off the animal. Let it fall down. That's what it said. Now. So now, your animal is carrying glass kalim. And the last thing you want to do is go ahead, Wad, and have that slip down. So what should you do? Mevim korim v'kisasais. You should bring like pillows or mattresses, things that are soft. Umeniach tachteha. Put it underneath the cargo bag with the glass in it. Umata achavalim. Let the ropes open. The hasakim naiflim, and the sakim will fall on the bags, and they'll be what? They'll be supported by the bags, and it'll weaken the fall, and therefore it'll absorb the blow, and you'll be good. Fred the Gemara, banan tanan, noiteles akel only told him b'Shabbos. If they metal guys, a klis chuchis is not muktzah. We said, what do you have to let drop on the floor? A kli that's muktzah. A kli that's not muktzah, the Mishnah said you can take. So if it's a kli of schuchis, don't drop it on the floor. Simply take it out of the bag with your hand. It's not muktzah, and take it with you. Says Gemara, Kikam Rav Huna When Rav Huna said this din, he was speaking about the karne de umna. He was speaking about the pipette of the umna. That's an art school word. Pipette. The pipette of the blood letter. That's muktzah machmas miyas. No one's going to use that. The cup that he used to go ahead, draw blood, no one's going to use that. It's blood, so it's muktzah machmas miyas. It's muktzah machmas miyas. The lechazile, that therefore it's muktzah. So your itzah is go ahead and put it underneath and let it fall down. Fred Yehud, I'll be with you in a minute. You got another problem. We know throughout the Masechta, you're not allowed to take a kli that's in a state of being used any which way and be mevatl from that status. So by going ahead and putting the kli there and letting the glass of the umna, of the bloodletter fall on it, so you're going ahead and you're making it a bustus, it's going to have to stay there. You can't use the karam mikistas anymore. How could you do that? After Gemara, b'shlife zuter, we're speaking about small sacks, that small glass pipes in it. In other words, so what could you do? You could you just simply let it fall off. So therefore, you'll use the kli, you use the pillows to absorb the fall, and then when it's on, you'll go ahead and incline it like this, and it'll fall off. So therefore, you are mevatel kli meichana. Yes, Yehuda, what was your question?
No, that's fine. I resolved it. Thank you.
Mesavei, chaysavei masay tuna tevel. You have the bag was full of tevel. Now tevel is grace and muktzah, right? Tevel it's tremendous. No one can eat it. The animals can't eat it. You can't eat it. Forget about it, right? It's a muktzah. Vashishus, and you have glass. Materes hachavalim. What do? You untie the chavalim, the ropes. V'hasakim loichlim, and the sakim they fall. V'afal pi shemish tabrim, even though they're going to break. Guys, obviously, what can't you put underneath them? Korvikis satais. You can't go ahead and put mattress and pillows there. We're saying you have glass, you have to let it break. So it's a kasha. How are you? You just told me before you can put korvikis satais, and by glass, you see you can't. After Gemara, chasam bikulsa. That's speaking about big slabs of glass. They used to go ahead, Rashi said, and make windows from big slabs of glass. I still think they make windows from big slabs of glass. But in those days, the windows were probably very small. So even though it breaks, you didn't lose anything because you're going to be able to use it for glass. Dekanami, diktani dumya de tevel, similar to tevel. Ma tevel loichazile, af hachanami loichazile. It must be glass that you can't use at all. Now, the glass, why do you let it fall on the floor? Why don't you put a karva kisatas there? Because since it's heavy, you would be mevatel kli meichanan. So it comes out like this. If it's glass, if it's muktzah, that's easy to go ahead and get rid of. So therefore, take the kli, put it the car, put it there, let the kli fall on it, and then incline it. And if it's too heavy, then you don't put the karva kisatas, you let it fall. If it breaks, it breaks. And now, Fred, my afapi shemish tabrim, even though they break, but you just told me you could still use it for something. Even afapi shemish tabrim, there's no pseda. You're going to take this. What do you have to tell me? It's going to break? Guys, usually say the following. Don't put a kli there even though it's going to break. What's the implication even though it's going to break? And you're going to take a monetary loss. When something breaks, inevitably, you're going to take a monetary loss. L'mashal, let's say, no, I'm not going to forget that. My simplest, I don't want to share my simple shots. Somebody once broke a television at a certain point in time. And it was worth every penny. Now, anyway, so usually when you break something, when it breaks something, guys, you're taking a monetary loss. So the Gemara wants to know, if you can use this glass for windows, you're not taking a monetary loss. So what do you have to say after the Shivach Korim? It says, listen, you're not going to use all the glass. You're going to take a little bit of a loss. So I might think, fellas, that for a little bit of loss, you could put Korim v'kisai satais there and be mevatel kli meichanan. Kamash malon, for a little loss you cannot. Kamash malon, for a little loss you cannot. Hastus, if you would take a big loss, you would be able to. Tanya Reb Shimon ben Yochai Omer, tuna shlif shel tfua. You got a bunch of tfua on the animal, and what should you do to take it off? What happened was you came from outside Shabbos, you got to the chutzner. What should you do? It's muktzah. Go ahead, use your head, tilt them in atzad, take your head, push it, take it off. and it's going to go ahead and fall down. Chamarish Rabbi Gamliel hoisa tuna dvash. The chamar of Rabbi Gamliel was carrying honey. Parka at Motzei Shabbos, and Rabbi Gamliel did not want to unload till Erev Shabbos. Now the Gemara says l'chora, there's nothing wrong with the vash. It's an ochel. It's not muktzah. So why in the world would Gamliel want to keep it on the animal the whole yontiv, especially what's going to happen in a second? Motzei Shabbos, meitzah, and Motzei Shabbos, Nebuch, he found a dead chamar because the load on the animal was too much to bear. You could take kalim that are not muktzah. That's what our Mishnah said. So why didn't Rabbi Gamliel take the devash? After all, the devash is not muktzah. So why didn't he take the devash? And for the Gemara, kishahidvish, it's speaking where the devash turned vinegary. It turned. So therefore, since it turned, you can't. It's muktzah. For the Gemara, hidvish l'may chazi. So why is he trucking it all? If it's ruined honey, why is he trucking it all? Why is he bringing it all? And for the Gemara, the kesita the gamli. Even with the saws, I think we had the Gemara the camels as a result of the blankets and the saddles on their back. We get sores. So the refuah was taking this honey and rubbing it on the back of the animal. It could be that's the share of haitzah that we learned earlier in Bava Behema. Anyway, Fred Gemara v'yata chavalim v'yiplu sakim. So good, it was muktzah. Why did he leave it on the animal? Well, again, the animal died. And for the Gemara, mitztaru ziki. If the sacks, they were so full, if they would have fallen, they would have broken. So he would have taken, then he would have lost the devash. Estus, the devash was worth more to him than the donkey. Okay, now, Fred Gemara v'yavim kar v'kisatois v'niach tachtayim, right? In other words, we're exhausting every possible halachic way that Rav Gamliel should have done, and he knew. So we have to figure out, we're going backwards. Why in the world did Rav Gamliel leave it on his donkey? For his donkey to die, we have a whole bunch of eitzes. What he could have done, first of all, he could have gone ahead and taken it off. No, he couldn't have taken it off. It's muktzah. Second of all, he could have let it fall on the floor. No, he couldn't let it fall on the floor. It's too heavy. It's going to break. So the next thing would be to bring karim b'kisatos. Bring what? Bring and then let it fall down. Says the Gemara. So therefore, v'yavi karim b'kisatos v'yiniach tatayim. Bring these mattresses and pillows, put them underneath, let the honey bags fall on them, and then slide off. Says the Gemara metanfei. They're going to make the bags dirty. They're going to make the kalim dirty. The kalim therefore will be mivachal timei chanai. So therefore, you didn't have any lecheret. So therefore, he had no eitzah. Except there's one thing, fellas. What about Sar Bali Chaim? That animal, the whole Shabbos, had this heavy thing on it that obviously killed him. So l'chayra, fellas, being mevatel muktzah is in the rabbanon. Being mevatel klimei chanai is the rabbanon. So better be mevatel klimei chanai and Sar Bali Chaim, let the animal live. So how can you mitzar the animal? And for the Gemara, Sar Bali Chaim, Savar Sar Bali Chaim the rabbanon. It's machlokes we had in the Sefta about Mitzia and Mitzias, and here Gamliel held that the rabbanon of Sar Bali Chaim is not more important than the rabbanon mad of being mevatel klimei chanai. Therefore, we've exhausted any possibility that exists that Rabbi Gamliel could have done, and therefore what? Therefore, he left it on the animal. Okay. Abaya, a new sugya now. Since we're talking about animals, we're going to speak about, you're not supposed to go ahead and use an animal on Yontif, and you shouldn't even be mishamish with an animal any which way. You should stay away from animals. Nothing good can happen. Abaya ashkei l'Rabba. Abaya found Rabba. He was rubbing his son on the back of a chamar. Rashi says he was sliding him down the chamar. He was sliding him down on the side of the donkey. He was playing shoots and ladders on the donkey. Shoots and ladders. He's coming down the donkey, right? Amalei. So Abaye said to Rabba, "It's Shabbos." So Abaye wants to know from his master Rabba what exactly is going on over here. So he said, "He mishtamish with a balchai." So Amalei, so he said to him, "Studinhu, I'm using the sides. It's studin like gazu rabbanon. When were the rabbanon guys are using an animal that's on top of the animal? The sides of the animal, we're not geyser. The sides of the animal, we're not geyser. Ditnan, mate chavolim vasakim nofen. You go ahead, picture an animal. They got two cargo bags on the side. They're held together in the middle, and you went ahead and you matted it. Okay, so now, Now, to matter it, mistama, you had to go ahead and lean against the animal. Says the Gemara. So tzedadin, they weren't geyser. How do you know they weren't geyser tzedadin? Because it says in the Mishnah, go ahead, take the chavalim, the ropes, v'asakim noflim, and the cargo sacks, they'll fall. My love, the chover givalki, it must be speaking chover givalki, tied saddlebags, the havilate stadin, utstadin legazer rabbanan. In other words, these saddlebags are on the sides of the animal. To go ahead and undo them, he's going to have to lean on the animal, untie it. So you see that leaning on the animal is permitted. When our Mishnah forbids you to go ahead and unloosen the bags, and he's leaning against the animal, we have a raya that's stud in his mutter. Now, says the Gemara, you have a raya. Loy, it could be speaking, the chaver agavalki. The loy have it studin. Inami be kalchta. In other words, there are not necessarily is it the adhesion so strong that you'd have to be leaning against the animal. Maybe simply you can take your hand and pull out or untie. Again, I'm not exactly sure of the mitzias of this, but in other words, lav dafka that you have to lean against the animal. So you have no raya. Because it could be that it's much easier to go ahead and unloosen the saddlebags without leaning against the animal if we have no raya. So we have a Rabbi going ahead using the animal coming down. He tells a buyer that it's mutter. We want to bring a raya from a Mishnah that's studied on mutter. We have no raya from a Mishnah, but we have the sheet of Rabbi that studies mutter. Esivei, okay. We're in Masechta Sukkah. You have a sukkah, and two of the walls are on the tree. Two of the walls are made by man, and one's on the tree. Okay, you have two made by man, and one's on the tree, and then you have three made by man, and one's on the tree. Then you have three man-made, and one's on the tree. Okay, so let me give you the Gemara outside. The Gemara is going to assume that you're not allowed to go on there on Shabbos because you can't use tzedadin. Here's the Avmina. It's a great picture if I can get you to see it. You see the tree side, guys? Yeah. These are the man-made walls, and now it's the tree wall. In the tree wall, you see there's slats. That wall is they made like that. You know those wooden fences where they keep the cattle in the country, right? I'm saying Shezevi, okay? So they would go ahead and you know that they keep the horses. You know they put those wooden slats through the classic farm fence. So here, look. Now they would put schach on top. So you're using the studim of the tree, right? You're using the studim of the tree. So the Gemara is going to say, Kasha, you want to tell me that studim is mutter? This you're not allowed to go in on Shabbos. Why are you not allowed to go in? Because you're using the studim of the tree. So you see studim arasa, and the Gemara's teretz is no. You're using the top of the tree. The wall, there's no slats there, guys. There's just simply foliage, and you're just using what on top. So therefore, it's not a shaila of studin at all. So it's not a kasher on me. Okay, let's see it inside. Shtayim bidei adam. Two of the walls of the sukkah are made bidei adam. The achas peilon, and one of the walls is in the tree. Now kshera, it's a kasher sukkah. However, bein oilin lo biyontif. You can't go into that sukkah on yontif, guys. You're not allowed to use a tree on yontif, right? Mishtamish peilon, you can't use it on Shabbos yontif. You can't use an elon because you may come to go ahead and take off a branch. My love, the chok be beilon, like the picture, guys. The wall was chok; it was stuck in the tree. Right? We saw them going across. It was stuck in the tree going across. Correct? The hamilate studin, and now when you go ahead and you're using the schach on top of that, it's using the side of the tree. Your schachs guys are in charge of the slats. The slats are connected to the sides of the tree. And you're not allowed to go in yontif. So what do you see? That studin is usher. So how can you use the size of an animal? It was a very good, I'm telling you, I didn't understand it. It's the Shalom, you don't have your Pirish Chai with you. It's the Pirish Chai on Sukkah. It's on Chav Beis on the Beis the Sugya. So it was very good to have it. And they made things much clearer for me and hopefully for you. Says the Gemara, Loi, It's not speaking Stadim or Rasa. It says that the Kafya Elon. It's guys, it's on top of the tree itself. It's on top of the tree. There's no slats. It's on top of the tree. That's not a problem. You're not using Stadim. That's why you can't go in on Yontif. You're using not the side of the tree. You're using the etzim tree. It's the slats aren't here on Dachik. They're here. They're on top. The Mela, you have no kasha on me, Rabbi. You have no kasha because in fact, what Stadim Ken Zayin is mutter. That you can't go up on Yontif is koi because you're using the etzim tree itself. That's awesome. Fred the Gemara. That was, guys, that was 2 in 1. What about this case? Sholish bidei adam. You got 3 walls that are bidei adam. V'achas be'ilan and 1 be'ilan ksheira. V'oilan la biyantif. So we all know that for a sukkah you only need 3 walls, correct? So if I have 4 walls, 3 are man-made, 1 is in the tree. So therefore, I'm able to go in Yontif. But 1 second, if you told me it's on top of the tree, the schach, how in the world can I go in there in Yontif? I'm using the tree. Yes? How can I go in? If that's your pshat and it's on the top of the tree, what's the heta for 3 regular ones and 1? You're still using the tree. The kafir le'ilan amai oilun labi Yontif. Fred Gemara. So now you want to tell me tzadin or asa? Velamai tzadin asur and soif amai oilun labi Yontif. Either which way, guys. In other words, whether you hold tzadin is asa or mutta, you still won't be able to explain this last case. Why? If tzadin or asa, you can't go up in the tree. You can't go up there. And if it's on top of the tree, you can't go up there. So how are you going to pshat? Elahasam, what are we speaking about? Givasa parsichna. We're speaking, fellas, where that wall is just for noi. It's just for beauty. In other words, you have 3 walls. Your schachs on those 3 walls. Your 4th wall is like ivy. It's like ivy. It's like ivy going down. Ivy. It's like going. In other words, you can go in on Yontif because you're not using the tree at all. It's just a wall, but there's no schach on top of it. It's not really the Elon Gufa doifim ba'almahu. As we just said, the Elon is doifim ba'alma. The Shavya. Dekinami the Tani. Ze'aklal. Kol Elon shenitol Elon v'yichol lamoid. Any way you take away the tree and the sukkah is able to stand, if you go on Yontif. Shmamina. Okay. So very good. So right now we're holding that tzadin could be mutter. The question you posed from sukkah wasn't a question because it wasn't speaking but tzadin. It was speaking on top of the tree. Yet we have this dialogue between Abaye and Rabbi. Rabbi is saying it's mutter. So it's Gemara is going to suggest now that in fact that Ken Zayin it's a machloikis tanoim whether tzadin is mutter or not. And we're going to make it to the Mishnah today on Kufnan Hey Amid Aleph. Says Gemara, Lema Kitanoi. Let's say it's a machloikis tanoim. Let's say it's a machloikis tanoim with tzaddim are us or not. And this is speaking, guys, 2 and 1. 2 man-made, 1 tree-made. Ein oil labiyantif. My labakavifli. The masav it's tzaddim asurin. Therefore, you can't go on Yontif. Umasav mutarin. And therefore, you could go on Yontif because you're not. It's a tzaddim of a tree are permitted. If it's on top of the tree, you couldn't go in. But since it's the side of the tree, you could go in. So this dialogue between Abaye and Rabbi, in fact, is machloikis tanoim, the Tanna of Shem ben Elazar. Abaye loy. The kuliyal mitzvah and asur. And again, Abaye has to hold it's asa, right? He's the one who said it's asa. So he has to explain why does Shem ben Elazar say you can go in on Yontif? If it's tzadin or asa, why can you go in? This is speaking the side to a side. Masav et sidet tzadin asurin, masav et sidet tzadin mutarin. I don't have a picture for this. Basically, it's the following. You're not using the side, you're using the side of the side. It's 2 removed from, you have the etzim tree, you have the side of the tree, and then you have something extending from the tree. So the etzim tree itself, the top of the tree, is everyone holds sasa. The side of the tree, Ken Zayin, everyone holds is mutter, or Ken Zayin, everyone holds is asa. Here, the machlokas is whether you have a stake coming out of the tree, and you have schach on top of that stake, whether it's asa or mutter. So that's the machlokas. Tanakama says, even tzidei tzaddim, a side to a side is asar, and Rabbi Shimon says no, only the tree, the side of the tree is asar. The side to the side, the stake sticking out from the tree, that will be permitted. So therefore, that you want to say it's machlokas tanoim, it's not true. Ken Zayin, they all hold it's asar. They hold it. Rava Omar, Man the asa b'tzadin, asa nami b'tzidei tzadin. You can't make such a chiluk. He says, if you're going to say tzadin or asa, if you're going to say the side of the tree is asa, guys, then the stake coming out of the tree is also asa. And if you're going to tell me the stake coming out of the tree is mutta, then tzadin is also mutta. So he's arguing Abaya. Abaya is making a chiluk between tzadin and sidei tzadin. Says Rabbi, there's no such chiluk. Whatever you hold by tzadin, that's what you're going to by sidei tzadin. It's all gebund and it's all one din. Man the shoy bit sidei tzadin, shoy not bit tzadin. We're going to slug up Rava. I'm going to show there's takra chilik between stadin and sidei stadin. Says Rabbi Shashil, Rava. Now, fellas, outside, a little yediyah before we begin. A little erevin. You get 2,000 amas every direction of the city. If you want to go 4,000 amas or 3,000 amas in another direction, you have to make, at the end of 2,000 amas, you have to do what's called b'koine shvisa. Ben hashmashis, you have to have a meal there, and that makes it your home. That makes it your home, your kona, your home. And that will extend from that area, it'll extend up until 2,000 amas. You'll lose it in the other direction, but you'll gain it over here. Okay, so here's the case. You have your meal, you take a steak, you put it in the tree, and you put your meal on the steak. So now it's tzidei tzadin, correct? It's tzidei tzadin. So the halacha is, if it's above 10 tefachim, if it's above 10 tefachim, then it's not a good Erev. Because guys, remember this? Let's end the Masechta how we began the Masechta. Stam a tree is at least 4 tefachim, the circumference is at least 4 tefachim. If you're 10 tefachim above and 4 tefachim wide, it's called a Rishus HaYachid. Nimsa, you are in Rishus HaRabim, and your Shvisa is in Rishus HaYachid. That's a no-go. If, however, it's below 10 tefachim, then you're both in Rishus HaRabim, then you're a go. So the shayla is, what it says, if it's on the stake, it's good or not good. What happens on the branch? Everyone holds it's no good. Only on the stake do you have the chiluk between above 10 and below 10. If it was on the tree itself, on the branch of a tree, it was on the side of the tree, there'd be no machlokes. So what do you see, fellas? That you can hold sedadim ma'asar and sidei sedadim ma'muta. So that's the kash on Rava. Says the Gemara, Yesed be'ilon v'tolabot kilkala. You have a stake in the tree, and you go ahead and you suspend your basket of your meal. L'mayla me'asara tefachim, if it's above it, asar tefachim ein eruva erev, as we spoke out, because you have your erev in Rishus HaYachid and your Rishus HaRabim. L'mata me'yitfachim, however, if your food is below your tefachim, then eruva erev, then you have a very good erev because you're both in Rishus HaRabim. Taima, the reason why it's a good erev, the noyetz yesed be'ilon, because it's in the Elon, which makes it sidei tzadin. The Elon is what? One side, and the Yetz is another one. Haloi noyetz, but let's say you didn't go ahead and stick it in the tree. I feel l'matim yitfachim ain't a ruveir. Let's say it was hanging from the branch, which is a din of tzadin. Then it would not be a good erev. Aiva itana sukkos ka'asa b'tzadin v'kashoy b'tzidei tzadin. Obviously, this tana is what he's saying. Tzadin would be usher if you hang from the branch, but tzidei tzadin from a stake below 10 would be good. So how could you rather say the one who holds tzidei tzadin holds tzadim, and the one who says asa? You said that hava hatalia that depend one upon the other. You see over here, not like that. Amra papa hacha bil kikola dechuk askinan. Really, tzidei tzadin's muta, and really whatever. It's different. This is speaking about a a lunch basket that if you're going to go in the lunch basket, you have to chrap your hand in there. And what's going to happen? The tree's going to move. So the reason why it's no good is not because of the reason why it's not good. Really, stadin is really permitted. But since this thing is so hard to get to without stabilizing it, you're going to go ahead and move it, and therefore it's asr. But not because it's asr, because you're using the tree itself. You're not using the side of the tree, you're going to cause the tree to move. The bahadi, the shakale le'eruva, as you're taking your food of your erev out, you're causing the elon to move, should be elon gufa, but not the tzadin. Anyway, so again, the question is not a question, we have a teretz, but nonetheless, the hilchasat tzaddim asurim, sidei tzaddim mutarim. The halach is tzaddim asa, sidei tzaddim muta, like Abaya guys, not like Rava. So look at Tosfos, the Gvaldig Kasha guys. It says Tosfos, hilchat tzidei tzaddim asa, tzidei tzaddim mutarim, v'teima l'Rebami. Amay lechoshev hani bahade yal kigam. In Masechta Bab Metzia, we give 6 places in Shas where the halacha is like what? Is like Abaya and not Rava. Yal Kigam. Let's go. Yir Shlamidash, Eidim Zoymim Mafreya, Ba'atzmai, Kuf, Kiddushin Sheinim Sulabia, Gimel, I forgot. Gam Mem is Mumma. Something in Mumma. I'm telling you, I'm forgetting. I'm really getting old. Anyway, bottom line. So L'chaira, I have a B12 shot right here. I kid you not.
Benji's gonna tell you he has some alcohol right behind him.
No. I have, this really is a B12 shot.
What is that, from memory?
Yeah.
Well, Benji's gonna faint just looking at it.
You have to remember to take it, though.
Yeah, I was supposed to take it yesterday. I forgot.
Okay, anyway, L'chaira, anyway, so now, so halacha is like Abaya, not like Rava. And in fact, in action, Amar Ravashi, Hashtad Amit Stodan Asurin, Haidargo de Madalo Limche Inche, Adikla, the Havilat Stodan, Pirish. They would have a watchtower, and you'd have the going up to the watch. It was among the palm trees. You have the ladder going up to the watchtower. Make sure that ladder is not on the tree. On the tree, you're going to be using what? You're going to be using the sides of the tree, which is awesome. So therefore,
Someone has to mute.
I'm muting everybody. Baruch Hashem, there's no noise here. You could hear the air conditioner blowing. Anyway, so you have over here, this is going up to the watchtower, so you should be very careful. Le'lincha incha adikla. Don't put it on the tree itself. The havilut stodin, because that's stodin it's asa. Elolamche agavsa levarmi dikla. Go ahead and put it on the watchtower that's outside the dikla. The chisalik, when you go up, le'linach kari akavza. Do not go ahead and put your feet. Agavza elolisna akonim. Be sure you don't use the tree. Be sure you put them in the rungs going up of the ladder, and that makes sure you don't use
Ladies, in the context of we spoke about a car. You mentioned the car the other day. Putting this in the context where you have something if your car's in your driveway and you have something on your car, you can't. That would be the same idea. You would not be able to take it.
What do you have on your car? What do you have on your car?
What
do you have on your car?
Say food. I don't know.
If as long as it's not muktzah, you can take it off.
He said the car's the right to touch.
You have an Erev problem? Are you putting it into your own rishus?
It would be in the same rishus.
So you have no problem taking it off. Not a problem.
Right, the car's not muktzah. Rabbi Stone said the car's not muktzah, right?
Car is not muktzah. No.
Right, because it's not moving.
The car is muktzah to move. It's not muktzah to touch.
This would be like a chamor.
A car is not a bal chai. A car is not a chamor. It's not a bal chai.
Oh, I was making the comparison. Okay. I mean, the same idea of studding. But that's why
you don't need to come onto studding. It's okay. Not a problem. As long as you're in the same rishus, and as long as it's not muktzah, it's not a problem.
Okay.
All right. Shabbos.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Good Shabbos.
10 o'clock tomorrow night.
Hey, Rabbi Stern, quick question. I was using these Alexas and things like that to talk to on Shabbos, to turn on a light or whatever it is. I thought that's might be what we were getting at with the animal, to call the animal or to use something with your voice.
Animal resents the name Alexa.
Right. It'd be silly to name an animal Alexa. But what's the issur in using?
I don't know how Alexa works.
You talk to it and it talks back, or it does.
So you're goyrim. If you're goyrim something, right? Grum is asa. You can't be goyrim something on Shabbos.
I hear you.
So if Alexa is goyrim, if you're talking to Alexa that's causing something to go on, it's called grumma. That's asa.
You all caused my Alexa to go wild now by saying it. My Alexas are all talking to me now.
Oh.
See, there goes the television, huh?
Right.
There goes the smart TV.
You know, they have videos, Laser, of the Alexa talking to Siri. They talk to each other, going back and forth. It's insane. Anyway, good Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos, everybody.
With a practical application,
Thank you. Good Shabbos.
what's it called? A hammock. You can't